So, Solomon, first tell us what course do you study?
So as you already know, my name is Sulayman Khwaja. I study international relations and politics at Loughborough University.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your UCAS process and your personal statement? Like how did you find that whole process?
Me personally, I did my UCAS quite late. I had to get all my references done, speak to all my teachers regarding my predictions. Wow, I haven't spoken about UCAS in a long time. I've actually completely forgotten about it. The whole process itself was quite long. It was tedious, but my advice to all students going into or wanting to go into university, I advise you to do your UCAS as soon as possible. It's honestly a stress off your hands, and it honestly makes you feel so much better when you've actually completed it as early as possible.
So, Solomon, why did you choose your course and the university that you're at?
I mean, Loughborough, when I was looking at Loughborough, I saw the rankings, it was quite high. I think it was like top 4, top 5. So that already intrigued me going to a top 5 university in the UK. Secondly, my course was mostly politically related because I had a keen interest in history, geography, and politics. And I was like, what's the best subject that can combine all these courses into one? And then I found international relations and politics when I was looking at the course modules. It had a lot of the modules that included history, geography, politics. They were all very interesting, and for me that was a keen interest.
So would you say that the main thing that you was considering during your application process was like the modules?
Yeah, I was, to be honest. At that point, I wasn't really looking at career paths, because the one advice that I'd always been given is not to do a degree that you don't enjoy doing. And for me, that was a very important point, because I wanted to do a degree that I would enjoy doing every single day. I could wake up and do the work that's required, and I didn't want to be that person to always complain or regret about the course I'm doing or about the amount of work I've got. So that was key for me.
Okay. So let's take it a bit forward. How did you choose your accommodation, and like what things did you look out for?
Well, the uni itself helped me a lot. They had a sort of leaflet that had all the accommodations, to be honest, and the prices, pictures of the rooms I found on the internet. And for me, it was, I wanted to have a place where it wasn't too like too loud. So for example, I personally came in with the intention of not being in campus. And so I wanted somewhere quiet. So the best place I found was the Holt, for me personally, because it wasn't too far from campus and it wasn't too far from town. And it had like a quiet atmosphere that I really enjoyed, and it wasn't that expensive as well. So for me, it was a good price, and a good accommodation to have in my first year.
Okay. What tips would you give to people applying for accommodation?
My tips would be to do your research, to be honest. I probably spent days just looking for accommodation, because bear in mind, you want an accommodation that fits the lifestyle you want to live. If you want a quiet place, then look for areas that are quiet. If you want a cheap accommodation, then look for cheap accommodation. If you want a place where you can make loads of friends, go to parties, be involved, then maybe look into accommodations that are in campus. So I feel like you just need to find the right accommodation for you by just doing the research that's required. And to be honest, everything is on the uni website or on the internet. You can look at pictures of accommodation rooms in your on Google Images. So I feel like everything's there. You just gotta go out there and do your research, to be honest.
Okay. Could you tell us a bit about your concerns about leaving home and coming to university?
My actually my biggest concern was whether I would make friends, to be honest. That sounds like a very sort of prime school, high school mentality, but it's like when you go to a new environment, you obviously want to have friendly relations around. So finding friends was one, and food. I wasn't a great cook when I first came to university. I didn't really have much cooking experience. I struggled with cooking a lot, so that resulted in takeaways, resulted in a lot of weight gain, and a lot of money spent as well. So for me, like making friends, not being able to cook. I was also scared about how much work was required of me to complete a degree, like the level of work. I was already stressing about it because I'm not a lazy person, but I do tend to procrastinate a lot. So it was just the feeling of what uni life would be like, to be honest.
Okay. So to break down what you just said, how did you overcome those concerns? So you're making friends, cooking, money, and university. Like, how have you overcome that?
So with making friends, to be honest, I overcame it by placing myself in group chats, because before you come into university, you get opportunity to like join different group chats on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, and by joining those group chats, I just sort of just putting my voice out there, just telling people, oh, do you want to come chill? Oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And people agreed, and then we just sort of like kind of like all came together, kind of asked around who lived around my accommodation. People would pop up and say, yeah, I do, and everything. And yeah, we just sort of just came together, to be honest. So my advice is just to put your voice out there, just to talk on the group chats, during the group chats as soon as possible. With cooking, I actually had to, so when it came to the Christmas break, or Christmas holidays, I went home and I learned a couple of recipes from my mum, and that really got me through to Easter. And then when I went back in Easter, I learned more. So for me, it was just more like going back home, learning recipes, and then coming back to university and actually performing it and doing it in the kitchen.
Would you advise university students to learn to cook before coming to university?
I mean, that is a key skill. Cooking is a big part of being independent, to be honest. So I do advise students coming into the university to have some basic idea or knowledge of what occurs in the kitchen, what to do, some basic recipes. Google is your biggest friend as well, your friends, family. Parents can also help you. You can practice, but that's for self-catering. There's also catering options for students that do feel scared or do have no experience in the kitchen. So the university does have catering services for those that don't want to cook or that doesn't have any experience. So there's an option for that as well. And as I said before, you got to do your research on these accommodations that do have the catering services.
In terms of private and university accommodation for first-year students, what would you advise them to do?
I'd say for first year, I'd say go into university accommodation. I wouldn't really advise going to private accommodation, only because if you're in a university accommodation within the campus area or just outside of it, like I was in the Holt, there's this sort of bonding that happens, that you get used to the atmosphere in university. You make friends quickly by going to different events, going to different activities, making new friends. So there's that bonding experience that you have. But if you go into a private accommodation, you're quite far. And for Loughborough, mostly private accommodation is somewhere around town, or the closest is somewhere around town. And you don't want to be too far from university, you also want to get a good routine going on by going to your lectures as well. And to be honest, if you're that far away from campus, I'm pretty sure you probably won't. You'll probably be not wanting to go to lectures because of how far it is. So I'd say first year, definitely go for student accommodation, and then the second year, then you can reevaluate your choices and then see what you want to do, because that way you have more experience and you have made friends, and then you can go into private accom if you want to.
Okay. So how did you feel in your first 2 weeks of being at university? Like, how did you get used to the transition, like your lectures, your seminars, tutorials, all of that?
To be honest, I struggled a lot finding my lectures, to be honest. Obviously that's just a common thing that happens. Honestly, if you come into the university and you can't find your lecture halls, don't worry about it. It happens. There are fresher helpers everywhere to help you. So for me, coming into university, finding the lectures was difficult, but after a while I got used to it, understanding the system. For example, we use a software called Learn that has all our teaching and learning resources. Had to get used to that as well. Personally for me, I made friends quite quickly within the first week because of all the fresher events that I went to and activities I went to. And also I made friends within the course that I'm studying as well. And I just messaged them and say, let's go to lecture together. That way they'd know where we were going and I wouldn't, and I'd just follow them, to be honest. So for me, like the first 2 weeks was just more about transitioning slowly into the uni life. But as we all know, uni life isn't that easy, and then you can just be thrown into the deep end. But honestly, just take it easy and just like go at it step by step, trying to learn the process of everything. And if you are stuck, there are always helpers around that can help you.
Great. What expectations do you think that your lecturers had that you wasn't like ready for?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. Like I'd say the lectures, I'd say the lectures didn't really like care that much. Well, they did, but it's more of a fact that because we're first year, we still have that A-level mindset. A-level is very different to a degree level, and to be honest, they didn't go at it slowly. We were jumped into the deep end, and yeah, I'd say there wasn't much expectation, but there was an expectation to get used to everything as quickly as possible so you can start performing in your exams and other assignments that were coming up.
Okay, so let's talk about extracurricular things. So talk a bit about entrepreneurship and business. Like, what made you decide to do something other than your degree and pursue that a field in business? Or, I know you do trading. Yeah. So what made you decide to go down that route?
Well, at first I just wanted science to put on my CV, to be honest. At first I wasn't really thinking of entrepreneurship. Every day, if you're like me, I go to bed thinking of ways of how to make money, how to make myself financially free. I always think of those things. I think of ideas, I jot them down. I think of situations, scenarios, connect them together. And if they don't really work out, then I just think of another idea. So for me, it was just every day, like I knew that the job markets wouldn't be that easy to get a job. And if I was getting a job, it would give me an average salary of, say, 25,000 or 30,000, and to get into the 40s, 50s, 60,000, I'd have to work years and years, providing my service, my efforts to a company that's already developing. Like I wanted to work for myself, so I wanted to earn money myself with my hard work. That will go into my future and not a company's future or the money go into a boss's pocket. So I just had those deep, like I had a deep, I don't know how to say it.
Desire?
Yeah, it was a deep desire. It was a deep desire for me to go out there and research things that would make me money. And then I came across trading. For me, trading has not been an easy experience. It's been rocky because I had no knowledge of the financial markets. I had no knowledge of currencies. I had no knowledge of stocks. So for the first year, it really took a lot out of me. Alongside studying my degree as well, I had to research everything just so I was perfectly clear about what I wanted to do, because if I'm putting money into this, I don't want to be losing it. And there has been times where I have lost money, but I've also gained quite a lot of money as well. So it's part of understanding. And when I was developing that mindset, my business was also developing, my ideas were also developing. So it's like as the years go on, you develop yourself and your mindset as well. And then
how do you think that university has helped you develop your business, your trading?
Personally, I don't think university has helped me a lot. Like it just kind of provided me that freedom and independence, as well as that confidence, to be honest. That's all I could say. I mean, like this was my idea. This was what I wanted to do. The uni didn't push me into it or anything like that. The uni just wants you to do your assignments, do your degree, and just go, to be honest. So this idea of mine, I just wanted to develop it as much as possible. I don't feel that uni really helped me like that. The only thing that I could really say that it provided was just it gave me that confidence to talk to people, to go out there and research, learn how to research, because in your degree you have to research a lot. So finding relevant sources, materials to help me prosper was one of the things that it really taught me, to be honest. But that's all I can say.
So why would you encourage people to come to university? Like, do you think it's a good decision then?
I mean, coming to university is a case-by-case basis. University itself is a whole experience. Like, if I didn't go to university, I always compare myself in different scenarios. So I always compare myself whether if I came to university, whether I would not come to university, and whether like how like my life would have been. I can't really say, but my life personally has changed quite a lot because of university. You know, it's given me that experience, it's given me that freedom, it's given me the ability to make lifelong friends, the ability to research. I enjoy my degree, so I would say if you're coming to university just for the experience, you got to rethink your options, because although yes, the university provides you that experience, you also need to think that you're not going to be like partying 24/7. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to get down and do your assignments, your exams. You know, you're going to have to research, revision. You know, and you can't do something that you don't enjoy. So if you think that you have other passions, like for example, you wanna go into a apprenticeship, or you want to go to entrepreneurship, something like that, then I don't think university is for you. But if you want to develop key skills, experiences, and at the end of the day you want a degree, then yeah, by all means, come to university.
Thank you so much, Sulayman. That was great.
Reach out to your life beacon.